answer your question in a bit, but we've got a snake in a nest here. So just above the foam nest frog, it looks like there's a snake there. Excuse me while I...
Variegated bush snake.
So Jandre, who's got the camera on full zoom, can see, it's a variegated bush snake, or spotted bush snake. Good spot there, Rex. These walking crews, for those who don't know, are made up of 3 people: presenter, myself, Jandre, when he's working with me, and Rexon or Herbie, that looks after security. And we're a very small, tight-knit group, and we all help to look out for things together, and Rexon just spotted the snake. Now, that particular snake is one of the best climbing snakes in South Africa. We're going to see if we can get a little bit closer. They tend to be quite bold, which will make getting a little bit closer fine. They're not dangerous to humans. However, they do have a toxic saliva. Snakes have got a variety of ways of transferring their venom into their prey. One of them is through hollow needle-like fangs. The next is through grooved fangs. In other words, not hollow, but just the groove on one of the sides. And the next is just holding onto their prey and having saliva, a venomous saliva, dribble out of glands and onto the prey. This particular snake has the latter of that description. So it has a venomous saliva, it grabs onto the prey, it chews its prey, and the venom then dribbles out of the salivary glands. And wow, we're surrounded by birds. That's an arrow-marked babbler, and that chiming that you're hearing in the background that sounds like a stuck wheel or a rusty wheel was that of a Natal spurfowl. Now, what that snake is looking for is housed in that white foamy secretion that you see. There's a frog there. Now, that foamy secretion is made by a foam nest frog, and we have got a foam nest frog in the view. That's what you're looking there, the grey tree frog, or otherwise known as the foam nest frog. And it's white like that because of the heat of today. They go white to reflect sunlight. Wow, this is fantastic. Now, Matt, you'd like to know if the snakes are eating the foam in the nest. Matt, you're almost right. What they're doing is they're waiting for the tadpoles to hatch out of the foam, and then they're hoping to catch the tadpoles before they go into the water and go out of reach from them. So that snake is being opportunistic, waiting for tadpoles to come out of the foam, and he's hoping to snatch one as it falls and wriggles out of that foam. That foam is hard. It goes to about the consistency of a soft polystyrene or a soft foam mattress, and the tadpoles that hatch out of that secrete a substance that dissolves the foam, and the snake will be able to detect the movements and the wriggles of that. It's interesting that we've got the frog in the same picture as the snake and the nest, because that's actually the whole story of why we have the snakes are superbly formed to climb into trees and to make use of snacks like frogs and lizards that they find up in the tree branches. And that's decided to bring you a little bit closer to this absolutely beautiful snake. This is a variegated bush snake, or spotted bush snake as they're also called. And what is quite nice about this particular snake is that its belly is full. So it's already had a frog meal or many tadpole meals, and its tummy is full, and it was just lying probably in wait next to this foam nest frog nest to eat whatever come out of there until it was absolutely full. And just a real treat to be able to show you the snake this close up. Because of their camouflage, of course, it makes them so difficult to see. And you can see how well that snake blends into its environment almost totally, with its spotty front and the lines on the back going into green. And the very matte look to it. Now, this snake has a matte sheen rather than a glossy sheen, mainly because the scales are keeled. Now, what that means is if you put your hands together and like you're saying a prayer, and you pull your palms apart, keeping your fingertips together, that is what their scale looks like on a, not quite a microscopic level, but almost microscopic level. So the scales are pointed, and that allows for a lot more for a sharpened point to be able to push against things. And it gives the snake its remarkable climbing ability. So the keeled scales, but that of course doesn't lead to a glossy surface, a nice reflective surface. And so their skins have this matte coloration to it. And that is that for the scales, at least anyway. The eyes are a beautiful yellow color. Now, snake's eyes forms, but they come in a variety of different colors. And this particular snake doesn't have camouflaged eyes like a puff adder or a rattlesnake would, and it's because this snake doesn't need to hide like that. It is a pursuit hunter, and so will pursue its prey through the undergrowth, and so it doesn't mainly, I suppose, to ward off other snakes, other males, but maybe even to attract females. Now, Francis, you wanted to know how long the snake will stay in the same bush for. At the moment, the snake thinks it's hidden. So at the moment, this snake is in a thick bush, very similar coloration to itself. To expose itself would be to draw attention to itself. So right now, it's thinking that camouflage and concealment is the best way to avoid detection and possibly even predation. You don't know what's going through their minds at the moment. And so it's not going to move from where it is right now. It will move, of course, if you get close enough to it and the fight or flight reflex takes over. Mostly snakes, though, will want to move away from you. They're not going to want to bite you. But if you had to pull on this snake's tail or make an effort to grab it in any way, they are quite bitey things. They will try and strike at you. Now, the venom is not known to be dangerous to humans at all. However, there's not much known about this venom. So it's not particularly venomous in terms of toxicity, but there's not much known about this venom. And so it's advised that, you don't get bitten by these guys, if at all possible. I know for one, I'm not going to be touching these snakes. I have a rule of thumb that I don't pick up snakes here at all. Not just a wild earth rule where we're just here to show you nature. We're not here to pick up things or to alter their behavior at all. Or we try as much as we can, at least, not to alter their behavior. But just in general, I don't pick up snakes in the bush. You can see it's busy moving now, shaking its head from side to side, looking like a leaf, moving directly away from you and to me. Now, of course, me talking has no effect on this particular snake because it's deaf. All snakes are deaf, and they feel and they sense their environment through smell, sight, and touch. They don't have the sense of hearing at all. And so with me speaking like this, it doesn't make any difference to it. Now, Paula, you'd like to know how many different types of snake there are at Djuma. Ooh, Paula, you caught me here with an absolute number, and so I'd like to just ask for some help from our viewers sitting in front of resources. I want to say that there's probably about 120 to 250 species of snake and reptile in the Kruger National Park. How many are at Djuma? Probably about 40, maybe 40 to 60 species of snake. But I stand to be corrected, so that's just what my very holy memory is telling me at the moment. It's my sort of basic guide to guiding 101 that happened 17 years ago. I can't remember a fact like that. So I'd absolutely appreciate some help from everybody out there. So for one, how many reptiles and amphibians are found in the Kruger National Park? And if someone can find how many reptiles and amphibians are found in the Sabi Sands or at Skukuza, 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 that is the largest rest camp in the Kruger National Park and will have one of the most up-to-date and informative species lists. Yeah, we definitely are still with our snake and our frog, our snake that's been hunting tadpoles out of a foam nest frog's nest, and a foam nest frog on the branch, busy trying to avoid being dehydrated by the sun, I think is actually what it's trying to do, more than avoid being eaten by the snake at this current time. But nevertheless, a very, very pretty scene here. One that is very rarely and infrequently encountered in the bush. In actual fact, Rexon and I were just having a chat now, and in all my years and all his years, we've never seen a similar circumstance in the bush. So collectively, over 70 years of time in the bush, and the two of us have never seen this. So unique scenario. Now Ruth has helped us with some of that species list so that we can discuss how many species of amphibian and reptile are in Djuma. There are 40 species of amphibian and 140 species of reptile in Djuma, which, sorry, Megan, if you wouldn't just repeat the exact total. Is it 37 species of amphibian and 140 of reptile or something like that? But Ruth, I just want to say thank you very much to you for helping us out with that. And it brings up our total of 34 amphibians and 114 species of reptile. Species of reptile and amphibian at Djuma, which is actually remarkable, to be quite honest with you. And it just shows you how well these animals are adapted to keeping themselves hidden and keeping themselves out of sight, because we don't actually see that many of them. We see a few frogs a year, we see a few snakes a year, but we by no means get anywhere close to that total at all. Now, the snake has come out on this side, if you want to walk across here, Jean-Andre. Now, Monique, you'd like to know if the frog and the snake are aware of each other. I don't actually think so, Monique. I think that the snake is watching us quite carefully. We're not bothering the snake at all, otherwise it would be making a dash away from its hiding place. But it's definitely keeping an eye on us. We're definitely close enough for that. That frog is just trying to not be dehydrated, holding its body vertically to the sun and completely white. It's that frog's natural pose at this time of the day, and mainly just to keep out of the blazing hot sun. There's snakes watching us straight up. There's its body going into its head, center screen. Wow, what a shot. Straight on its nose. Now, this particular snake has binocular vision, which means that the head of the snake, the eyes of the snake, the vision overlaps, or the vision cone overlaps slightly, which gives it binocular vision. And it are situated slightly in front of its head, not to the side, giving it 360-degree vision. And Andreen, you'd like to know if we can tell by the markings on this particular snake if it's male or female. Andreen, no. Unfortunately, with this particular species of snake, the only way that you can diversify between the sexes is through a cloacal probe, and that is the common urogenital opening. Is shallow in a male and relatively speaking deeper in a female, and there's you have to probe it, for lack of a better word, to find out the sex of these snakes. It's very difficult to sex them elsewise. Unlike the boomslang, which has males which are bright green and females which are brown. I think it's about time that we move on from the snake. I think we've been in its environment for long enough, so we're going to leave it alone. Hopefully it finds the snake. In any case, it's going to be digested.